Boom. Look who stepped in the room. Once again, episode 2, a collective podcast. We're in the building. I myself am Gunner. This is one Mr. Big Rojo.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. We're back. This is this is episode 2, and right here on this platform, man, we kind of just want to reach out, extend our hand to the people, and tell them, hey, this ain't about us. This is about you. So we're going to get interactive in this podcast. We're going to do a lot of different things. Right now, what we're going to talk about today is the paranormal, right? I felt that for another reason, over there on my channel, Gunners Collective, I've been speaking on the paranormal lately. I've been telling ghost stories and things of that nature, urban legends that I heard, growing up as a kid. But there's just some things I haven't touched on yet. This is a big world out there, and there's a lot that goes on. And, I talked to my co-host Rojo, and, he has a couple stories to tell. I have a few stories to tell, so I felt for no other reason we should just fuck it, tell them, So what do you think about the paranormal, Rojo? Are you a believer or a non-believer?
I've always said no, man, but like I told you earlier, man, I got that little story that I'm going to share in a minute. And, I've always been real skeptical. I've always been the dude who, when you pass on, your history. You know what I mean? I never believed in ghosts or any kind of things of that nature. But I can't count it out, bro. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm open-minded. Nothing's ever grabbed me. People say they see stuff in Quentin. I never seen it. People say they see stuff in cemeteries. I never seen it. You know what I mean? But man, who knows, bro? Who knows? I don't.
Absolutely. And that's why it's called the unknown. Nobody knows. For some reason, we've had people like myself that has had paranormal experiences up the ass. I don't know. No pun intended. I know what you're thinking. But there's been that didn't sound good. But anyways, it fucking is what it is. Fuck you, right? So we've had plenty of paranormal experiences in my past. And then there's some people like yourself, man, that, you haven't even seen the goddamn tooth fairy. So let me tell a little story, bro. I'm going to tell a story because I know there's a lot of people out there that are true believers, They're true believers in the paranormal, the afterlife, whatever the case may be. And we're going to get into all that, I think these movies and a lot of these things that Hollywood puts out is what get in kids' heads when they're small, these stories their parents tell them or whatever the case may be. And maybe that can twist the mind up to thinking something's there that really ain't fucking there. You know what I mean? But I myself know what I've seen. And I'm going to tell a little story right here. I don't know. I'm sure you know the city, Napa, California, the wine country, right? So I have family, an extensive family that actually live in Napa. And I fucking have family everywhere, right? But I have family in Napa, so I would go out there to my, actually my grandma, she remarried. So he was my step-grandfather is what you want to call him. But whatever the case may be, his parents passed away. They owned a big home in Napa. And this house was towed up from the flow up, man. They did no repairs on it. They needed to repair it. And so him, his brother, and his sister decided that they would fix this house up, sell it, split the money, and fuck everybody. So me as a kid, I'm probably 7, 8 years old. A kid, I know what's going on around me, and I was very mature for my age. But, I was still a kid. I go with my grandfather to this house, and all his family's there. It's his brother, his brother's 2 sons, a friend of theirs, another one of their uncles, and an uncle of mine who's a couple years older than me. So we're there, we're fixing up this house. Of course, we're children, so they're having us paint the living room and shit. And they're working. They figured they're cheap Mexicans. We ain't gonna pay no one for shit. We know how to put rebar and concrete in ourselves. So they're doing their thing. And it started to get later in the evening, and there was no talk about if we were going to stay in a hotel. There was no, the typical Hispanic guys, we're going to fucking sleep on the floor right here in the living room. And first thing in the morning, we're going to roll our mattresses up and get to cracking again. So I remember we all went out to eat. We got us some McDonald's. We ate in the living room. We're chopping it up. It's probably 11 o'clock at night. We kick back. And we all had sleeping bags. So we all fell asleep in this living room. I remember, man, my uncle's friend was right there. My uncles, my grandfather, the cousins or whoever they were. And we're all in the fucking living room in sleeping bags pretty much It's not a big living room. There's nowhere to go. And about 6 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, right? And usually I'm a very light sleeper. I've always been that way, you know? And for some reason, I didn't wake up that night. So when I got up at 6 in the morning, I was in my sleeping bag, but I was in the bathtub, okay? My grandfather was in another room. His brother was in another room. My uncle was right where he had went to sleep. The two cousins, one of them was on the porch, and the other one was in another room. How the fuck did that happen? Okay, my first thought as a kid was, I'm freaking out. How did I get up here? Maybe this is where I fell asleep. And then I said, okay, maybe my uncles and them moved me, or my grandfather moved me, or they're playing a joke. But these are grown men, and they also were in different areas of the house. And these are guys that don't fuck around, man. They ain't got time for that shit. My grandfather wasn't trying to be there painting and fixing this house up. He just wanted to get some money out of the situation and do it pushing. But this happened, man. This happened years later. Come to find out that prior to that being his parents' home, there was a family that was killed there. And I don't know if a ghost moved us. I don't know if a fucking demon, or to this day, I don't know. But it's something I'll always remember because, like I said, it was an eerie feeling. Imagine that you're waking up in a whole opposite room than you fucking. I'm in a bathtub. I've only woken up ever again in a bathtub, and I was fucking drunk. You know what I mean? So, right. It was a weird situation, and I mean, I just chalk it up to the paranormal, man. I know you were telling me a story about Sweden or your family. You know, let's put it out there for the viewers.
Man, it's actually Finland, bro. It's my grandparents on my mom's side. They came over from, well, her parents and grandparents, et cetera, came from Finland to the United States, right? Well, when I was a young kid, they didn't even speak English or nothing. They still spoke Finnish. You know what I mean? A couple of them could speak English as well. You know what I mean? But they had a duplex, bro, in Detroit. And, you know, they're in Detroit, the houses are pretty big, man. So what it is there's two addresses. My grandparents are in one, and then my grandpa's sister, which would be my great aunt, and his mom were in the other one. Okay. So what you got basement, first floor, second floor, and then the third floor was like an attic. Later down the line, they turned that into a whole third story. But while it was an attic, bro, the only way you could access it was on one side of the house. One side of the house from the second floor into the attic had a stairwell where you could go up there. You couldn't go onto it from my grandparents' side, right? So there's a thing they call boombies. It's some kind of Finnish like boogeyman kind of thing. You know, like a lot of parents back in the days, to keep their kids from messing around at night, they tell them if they got off bed, somebody was living under the bed, you know, them old kind of scary stories to keep the kids in the bed, right? Well, Finland's version of those are called boombies, bro. And what they had is in this attic, I still to this day don't know how they did it. My grandpa always denied it, said he didn't know what I was talking about. You know what I mean? My great aunt also, and none of the other ones spoke English, so you couldn't ask them nothing. And they were really old, bro. So I don't imagine them doing the things they do. But so me and my cousin one day, we did something, you know, to kind of get in trouble. And they're like, the boombies aren't going to be happy, right? So we're kind of tripping. You know what I mean? I'm young. I'm single digits, bro. And we're on the second floor in my great aunt's house. My cousin's room's in the center. And she's like, look at that. And there were some big old white eyes like this big in the attic, bro, bright though. And they were moving, you know what I mean? Like, bro, like my whole hair on my whole body stood up, and I got it, bro. I was out of there. And you bear in mind, this is probably like 1980, 81. There's not really projectors and stuff to be able to project some eyes up there and stuff like that. And I was thinking as I got older, maybe my grandpa was messing with me because he was kind of a joker a little bit. You know what I mean? He had a good sense of humor and stuff. But there was no access to the attic from the other side where my grandpa was at. You know what I mean? And I know he didn't like put a ladder all the way up to the third story, climb in the damn window. That's just not happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was never able to figure out what the hell it was. And it scared me for a while. Now, was it people just messing with me, or was it something crazy? Man, I can't tell you. I would go with people messing with me, but I'll never know the answer. that answer died with those people 30 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, that's you being the skeptic. You know, it's just in your nature to be a skeptic.
Yeah, I'm a
You know,
pessimist for sure.
yeah. You said it
Yeah.
in the beginning. You know, you're one of those people that believe, you know, only believe half of what you see and nothing you fucking hear. You know what I mean?
Hey,
But
I'll tell
even
you what though, the whole rest of the time I was there, I would never went to that side of the house again.
oh yeah,
I
it
stayed
turns into,
I stayed on my grandparents' side. I wasn't messing with it, bro.
you wasn't
Not
getting
at
a
all.
chance at all. So I wanted to tell one more story. I grew up in Merced. You know, everybody knows who knows me. If you don't, I grew up in Merced, Central Valley, located in the middle of California, a little town called Merced. And if you're not from there, don't go there. There's nothing to do, and you'll probably get killed. Period. But so Merced, I lived in a little area called Beechwood, and it's more on the outskirts of town, you know. But it had a nice little community, all raza. There's a little bit of everybody, I guess. But our community was pretty tight knit. Everybody were homeowners, old homes, older homes. A lot of raza, like I said, everyone's out Friday night. We call them Friday night fights. You see all the young gang members fighting. My uncle would grab a lawn chair, put it in front of his house because he knew something was going to go down. Whether it was a spousal abuse or whether it was fucking some drunks fighting, he was going to get some action that night. One of those communities where everybody knew everybody and you knew everybody didn't fuck around, you know, so tight knit community. There was one church, and it was a trip because that church wasn't Christian, wasn't Catholic, it was Baptist. I don't know what you want to label Baptist, if that's Christian. When it comes to the religion, I don't really know, but it was a Baptist church. And traditionally, anyone that knows, most Baptist churches are African-American churches. Okay. But this church, fucking nobody went there. There'd be maybe 4 or 5 old people that went there, and I would see them and no one cared. We'd do it pushing. But one day, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go up in this church. You know, I'm going to see if I could hustle. I was a little slick kid, right? I figured they'd have some cookies or there was something in there that they can offer a motherfucker, right? So me and a couple friends of mine, we actually went up in there, and this was the wrong day to go in there. Because as we walk in, it was your traditional little steeple church, pews on this side, pews on this side, one pulpit, some old white guy fucking saying what he's saying. And there was a bigger, a heavy set black woman, and she was playing with the piano. And they're singing their music, and there's 4 or 5 old people, and they're feeling it. They're feeling themselves. They're rocking back and forth. And me and my friends, we're in the back, and we're trying to scope out where's the fucking cookies, right? We're trying to scope out what do they got in here. And, you know, they're kind of looking at us, but, you know, it's a church. Everybody's welcome. We weren't being disrespectful or loud. We were kind of just trying to seize our opportunity if we can come up on something, whatever's not nailed down, you know. And I'll never forget that day. To this day, besides the ghost shit, besides the other shit we're going to talk about on different fucking episodes, this was the craziest shit in my life. And I've been involved in, you know, murders. I've seen people stabbed on the yards in front of me in prison. I've seen people have their whole throats cut. I've seen faces where they had to hold it together and they run up to the cop and they put it and their fucking whole face falls apart. I've seen people hung. I've seen people fucking, you know, their manhood taken over there somewhere in the corner. I was like, oh shit, right? I've seen a lot of different things, but what I fucking seen that day, okay, to this day, I ain't never going into Baptist church again. And I don't preach against churches. If you're Baptist, that's not on fucking me. I'm sorry, but hey, I'm just being real. Fuck that, right? This lady turned around. What happened was this lady turned around and she kind of scowled at us, this black lady. Made us feel uncomfortable, but at the same time, you know, she's probably thinking, these little bad motherfuckers are in here to steal, right? And then she started playing, and she started playing faster and faster. And I said, what the fuck is this, Metallica? And then she started to bang her fucking head into the fucking piano and turned around and her fucking head was cracked open bleeding. And these people were clapping and cheering. She's got the Holy Ghost. And I could have fucking swore that when she turned around, her eyes were fucking glowing red, bro. I got up and did it pushing. My homeboys were right behind me. We ran home, told our parents. They said, fucking, you're full of shit. I said, well, fuck them and that church, right? I'm not ever going back. And everyone we told said, we're fucking stupid. First of all, you guys are probably just in there trying to steal. I said, that's absolutely what we're fucking trying to do. But that's regardless of the fact. We didn't even get shit out of that place. And I'm going to tell you right now, This fucking lady cracked her whole fucking shit open. And it was like, it seemed like a cult to me or something weird. And it made me flash back. And I'm sure you've watched the movie because everybody has. Maybe not this younger generation, but I know everyone of our era and prior has watched Faces of Death. Remember Faces of Death?
Yeah.
Do you remember when that cult was cutting open that body and having an orgy with all the fucking sangre all over him?
Yeah.
Okay, that's blood for those of you that don't speak Spanish, sangre. But anyways, it reminded me of that in the fact that these people were fucking clapping as she's cracking or splitting her shit open. What kind of shit is that? Yeah, I did that push. You know what I mean? Hey, you know, you can, hey, it's like I said, this podcast, man, is not your typical podcast. We're going to talk about the unexplained, and that's about as unexplained as you can get to me, right? But it's the truth. You know, it's the honest to God truth. There's going to be skeptics. There's going to be pessimistic people out there, you know, that are going to say, Gunner, you're fucking a liar and a fat mouth. And I'm going to say, no, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not lying. And she was the fucking fat mouth, right? Her shit was bloody, gushy. But it's the truth, man. It happened, you know, and it's just another one of those things that I was privy to see that I, you know, as a kid, man, it was just not good, you know. And of course, my parents said I was lying and made me out to be the bad guy. And maybe that's why I rebelled and killed them.
Yeah, they thought you were sniffing paint or something. No.
Yeah, they thought I was on fucking KJ, right? Maybe that's why a couple of years later I said, well, since I'm the big old bad liar, huh? How about I fucking do this? I'm going to wake everyone up, you know? And anyways, that's irrelevant to the fact, but it's just a trip out here in this world, the things that are unexplained. And I see stories all the time, you know. What about the Winchester Mystery House?
That's the one over San Jose, right?
Yeah, they just made a movie about it recently, maybe a few years ago. And
I passed by there a couple of times, man. I worked right at that mall, man. I rebuilt that mall that's just a few blocks away from there, Valley Fair, I think it's called. And we passed by it. I've never been in it, man, but I heard some weird stories about that place.
I have too. You know what? I always thought that was just specifically a themed kind of haunted house type thing. You know, as a kid, we used to go to Great America. We used to go everywhere. And every time we passed it, you know, I wanted to go there because I was intrigued as a kid because I seen so much shit. I was like, I ain't scared of no ghosts. You know, I thought I was fucking a ghostbuster. No pun intended on the buster, right? But this is what I thought. And as the years passed, I never got a chance to go in there. And I grew older and I said, fuck that place, right? I'm not paying money to go in there and fucking and walk on the floor that's sideways or some shit. But after seeing that movie a couple years ago, man, I guess there's a big story behind that, you know?
What's it called? The movie?
I think it's called the Winchester, the house or some shit.
I'm gonna try to look that up after we're done.
It's based on, Rojo, from what I hear or from what I've seen, the actual gun family that made the Winchester rifle. So it was a very wealthy family or a husband and wife. I don't know if they had any children. I didn't pay that much attention to the movie. I was too busy in the mix. But I will tell you this, when I seen that movie, what little parts I was able to catch of it, the man passed away. He was a billionaire. Of course, he owned the Winchester guns since the 1800s. And his wife took over this house and the money and the fortune. And I guess it was haunted by all the people that had died from the Winchester guns. And that she said there was over 1,000 ghosts in her home. And so this woman, they said she was mad. She was a mad person, but she literally, Rojo, fucking had rooms built over, I'm not sure, I don't want to fucking exaggerate, put tapatio on it, but it was anywhere from 500 to 800 rooms built onto this mansion. And that every door, she would have them build this room, and then she would have them padlock this room. And she had all these spices and all these people building these rooms just constantly. They did construction on the house for 30, 40 years, building all these rooms. And I guess each room was for each ghost that haunted her. She would lock them in a room. I don't know. Like I said, and then they want me to pay to go in there? Motherfucker, you have to pay me to go in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
No more locked doors, right? I'm cool.
Hey, you know one thing? Hey, I'll tell you one story, bro, that I'll never forget, though, man. As far as, like, not being a believer in the paranormal, whatever, I'm like 14, 15 years old, man. and me and one of my partners, man, we're smoking, you know, a little bit of flower, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're in a cemetery. We used to go to this river right there, right up against the river. We go down there and fish and smoke and chill, drink, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a cemetery right there on the river, though. It's just like 100 feet back from the bank of it's part of the Brazos River. It's just one of the little things that go off. But anyway, man, we walked through the graveyard one day, bro, and I swear to God, I accidentally knocked over like a little, I don't know what it was made out of, like a granite vase, big old heavy granite vase, and I knock it over, right, while I'm pushing. And my boy's like, you should pick that up. I'm like, picking that shit up. He's like, man, that's bad juju, fool. I'm just like, man, whatever. Man, 2 days later, broke my leg in 2 places and my ankle in one. Hey, any other time, man, I wouldn't even have got a stub toe with what I did. I ended up getting a spiral fracture, 3 different breaks. I had to get screws in my shit. Now, was that just a coincidence? Or, man, you know what I mean? It's like, like I said, I've never seen nothing and I'm real skeptical, but man, you start to think about things like that. It didn't even dawn on me for like a year later. You know, after my leg was already healed and everything, I went back down there to go fish, and I was like, and then that memory came back on me. I'm like, oh shit, I knocked that thing over. Then I get in a fight with this dude and jump, and I snapped my leg like it was a toothpick. I don't know, bro. You know,
That'll learn you. You know,
hey, and it was totally accident. It wasn't like I was like desecrating grave sites or nothing, man. I was just walking, didn't even see it because it wasn't very nicely kept. You know what I mean? There was weeds and stuff. It wasn't all nicely maintained, so I didn't even see it. But at the same time, after I knocked it down, I didn't pick it up, you know, out of respect, like I should have. Man, 2 days later, snap, snap, snap.
Well, you know, and this is a trip. It seems like a lot of these things, and yeah, that story's fucking, you know, anything's possible, man. You know, it is a fucking big coincidence, I'm telling you. But most of these things, these experiences that I had, I was way younger, so maybe I was an imaginative kid. You know, maybe I wanted something to be there that wasn't there. But I'm gonna tell you right now that the fucking lady banging her, that was real. You know what I mean? That I know I seen that. Fucking ain't no doubt. But you know, just as being a young kid, I was pretty imaginative. So maybe I imagined some shit, you know, and I wouldn't put it past that, you know. But as I grew older, I never experienced nothing too much like that. A few things, I guess, but nothing that really where I was like, that was some shit, right? But me and you, man, when we were on our way to San Francisco, and I didn't even tell you that, I'm gonna tell you now. When we're on our way to San Francisco, we stopped to go have some tacos in Vallejo, if you recall. We just stopped, and we went to a park. And this was a nice park. I seen it had hills, and I said, man, it's a nice park. And then you told me the backstory on the park. Do you remember the park that we went to?
Yes.
And it was the actual park where the Zodiac killer did his first kills.
Yeah.
Right? You can Google it. You could fucking look it up. What's the name of the park?
I think it's Blue Rock, bro. Or Blue Ridge, Blue Rock or Blue Ridge, one of those two. But yeah, that's definitely, that's definitely where that happened.
Yeah, we went and picked some tacos up. We said, you know what, we're going to fucking go hit a park and chill, maybe do a video for YouTube or whatever. And we stopped there, and then we got to talking. It was a nice park. You know, there was a family over there doing their thing and little kids playing. And then you told me, hey, this is actually the fucking park where the Zodiac killer did his first killings.
I had just watched the Netflix thing on that just like a month before, you know what I mean? So it was kind of fresh in my mind. Because when we turned, I was like, man, I know that name from somewhere. And it just took me a minute to dawn.
Yeah. And then I remember,
me,
you Googled it, you showed me, I said, shit. Yep. And then I could recognize from the pictures to the actual hill where we parked. Mm-hmm. I said, well, god damn, right? But even prior to you telling me, because you didn't tell me right off the bat, we ate a little bit, and then I was like, damn, this is a nice park, and there's a path that goes down to like a river, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, them little lakes, kind of small little ponds. Yeah.
And I was looking around, I was saying, this is nice. And then that's when you said, hey, man, this is fucking, but even prior to that, I felt a presence. You know what I mean? I just felt like, is some fucking degenerate watching me or something? What the fuck is going on? Is there a peeping Tom here? It wasn't a scary feeling. not a hair rising on the back of your neck type feeling. I just felt a presence like something ain't right here. It's beautiful. It's nice. Some fucking ain't cool. And of course you tell me and I go, there it is. Something happened. And I don't know, man. It's just me. Like I said, I believe any fucking thing you tell me. You know what I mean? I believe this guy's cool until I read paperwork. And then, you know, I know he's not. But it is what it is. Anyways, man, with that being said, any more stories, Ro? I'm pretty much tapped out.
Nah, yeah, that covers it. That came to my mind tonight, man. In the future, I might remember something else, man. I know as an adult, I haven't really been that. I've been very pessimistic about the stuff, but I might remember some stuff back from a teenage and before, where I was a little more, I don't know, susceptible to weird stuff that I can't explain. You know.
Yeah. I do want to announce to the people, man, this will be a 3 times a week podcast. You know, we still are putting our all and the majority of our time into our perspective channels. If you haven't tapped in, go to A Convict's Perspective with Rojo and Flaco, where they're giving you the game. You know, they're giving you real life descriptive stories of actual things they've witnessed while being incarcerated in prison as members of the Nuestra Familia. Okay, tap in. If that's your thing, you'll love it. I myself am the comedian / don't give a fuck guy / ex-gang member / it's all for the people on Gunners Collective. So you tap Gunners with the Z. You tap into that, and you're gonna get a little bit of everything. You're gonna get some menudo, hot and steaming. I guarantee it's an experience like no other. But with that being said, man, like I said, open platform. We're gonna only elevate this podcast as we go, and we're taking all ideas. You know, Instagrams are booming. You know, at A Convict's Perspective Instagram and at Gunners Collecti, and give us your ideas, man. Give us your feedback in the messages. Give us your ideas, questions, topic ideas. We're always open. Like I said, man, we're for the people. This is your platform. We're just the motherfuckers on it for some reason. I don't know how we got here. Maybe the ghost put us here. I don't know. We're here. So with that being said, this is Gunner from A Collectives podcast, man, and I appreciate you. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out. There you go, Rojo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have a good evening, man. We'll be back at you soon. And enjoy your week, man.